Having given you that one way of creating graphs using a Google spreadsheet, I'm going to give you a second method, a much easier method, but it's always good to understand how to start from scratch in case the second method doesn't quite work for you. So here I have a second set of data. Notice there's multiple locations, just like if there's multiple trials for a lab. I've got time of day and temperatures at 3 different locations. The method I want to show you today, instead of going up here to inserting our chart, I want to come down here to the bottom corner and click on this Explore button. Clicking on the Explore button, a whole different range of options show up. Notice there's a graph here that does have pretty much what we're looking for here. We've got 3 different charts, time of day on the bottom. Doesn't look like there's a scale over here, but we'll look a little greater detail in a second on that. You can scroll down, a scatter plot of some of the same information, histograms, bar charts. So it's kind of giving you a wide range of choices that are basically done for you. But I'm thinking that I really want to do this first one. So all you have to do is click it, drag it, and drop it, and the graph is pretty much done for you. But we do need to make a few changes to it. I'm going to get this out of the way right now. Notice that the range is kind of cut off here at the end. There's no scale over here on the right hand or on the left hand side, so there is some work to be done, but a good portion of it is already completed for you. So we want to again go into our edit chart mode, and it looks like here I need to go to customize. I want to change the axis title. Probably want to change the overall title of the graph too. Let's see here. I'll highlight all of this. What would be an appropriate title? Temperatures at 3 different locations. Make it bigger. And once again, I need to make sure to include my name, or in your case, your name. In parentheses. It's my vertical axis title is missing. What is the vertical axis title? Looks like it's going to be temperature. And the units in parentheses, degrees Fahrenheit. My horizontal axis title looks pretty good. The only thing I might want to consider doing is changing the size here. So bump that up to 20. The labels will bump up to 16. Do the same thing down here. And what else needs to get changed? Well, kind of got a choppy graph here, and in real life the temperature probably moved a little bit more uniformly than these line segments that you see. So I want to change the chart style. I want to smooth it out to make it a little bit more realistic. And I also want to go through and plot the actual values. So if I go to series, I can change the point size to something a little bit larger. 7 might be a little too big, and that kind of works. Let's change that to 5. I like that a little bit better. So now you can actually see where the data points are on the graph as opposed to just seeing the graph itself. I'm going to leave them circle. That works for me. And now I probably want to come down through here and change the grid lines. There are only major grid lines on here going up my y-axis, only major grid lines. So if I click down here in grid lines, my vertical axis, minor grid lines. I want to add a few minor grid lines. And again, it's good to practice with this. I added 3 there. Does that make sense? 60, 65, 70, that doesn't. 3 lines probably doesn't make too much sense. Let's go to 4 and see if that makes sense. That'd be 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70. Yeah, that does make sense. So we'll leave that at 4. Horizontal axis. Looks like there's 5 in between, so let me go to 4. So that'd be 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So each one of my vertical lines represents 1 hour of time. That does make sense. And now I probably just, again, personal preference, I like to change the color so there's a different color between major and minor grid lines. Again, I think it makes it a little easier to read, especially when you print it out. And now I've basically taken what the graph that they've given me and made it just look a little bit nicer. The scale kind of runs off a little bit here. I'm going from 0 to 20, 21, 22, 23, which is there. It's fine that you don't have a major grid line on the end. The next major grid line would be 25, but there aren't 25 hours in the day, so I'm going to leave it just like that. Close out of this. Again, we don't want to print right from the spreadsheet because it's going to print the data with it. We just want the graph itself. So I'll copy the chart. I'm going to minimize this for a second. Create a new Google drawing. And I want to paste that into the Google drawing. Again, I don't have to link it. And there it is. I can resize. Again, don't resize too much or it gets grainy. Center horizontally and center vertically. And then I can, of course, name it and then send it to the printer.